The politics of marijuana will continue to be big news here, while on the national level, two polarizing figures, Steve Bannon and Hillary Clinton, they're back in the spotlight. Former Trump chief strategist Steve Bannon, now back as head of Breitbart News, sat down with 60 Minutes defending himself and his former boss.
The media image, I think, is pretty accurate. I'm a street fighter. That's what I am.
You're more than that.
No, I think I'm a street fighter. By the way, I think that's why Donald Trump and I get along so well. Donald Trump's a fighter, great counterpuncher.
But it wasn't all praise for the president's political brawling skills. In the interview, Bannon took issue with how Trump handled the firing of former FBI Director James Comey.
Someone said to me that you described the firing of James Comey, you're a student of history, as the biggest mistake in political history.
That would probably be too bombastic even for me, but maybe modern political history.
Comey was also on Hillary Clinton's mind as she sat down for an interview to discuss her new book. It's called What Happened. In it, she blamed the FBI chief in part for costing her the election, but she also had a fair amount of criticism for herself.
I understood that there were many Americans who, because of the financial crash, there was anger and there was resentment. I think, Jane, that it was a mistake because a lot of people didn't want to hear my plans. They wanted me to share their anger.
Joining me now are my Boston Public Radio co-host, Marjorie Egan. Hi, Marjorie. And conservative commentator, former colleague, host of Michael in the Morning podcast on Ricochet.com, you're Michael Graham.
I am Michael Graham.
And we know that. We've seen. Okay, before we get to this just for a second, this is totally unfair and irresponsible, so let's do it anyway. What's your initial sense of Steve Hoffman, new pot czar from Massachusetts, as someone who campaigned openly for the question?
I love the fact that he went out, even though he wasn't in favor of the ballot question, went out there and had a... Toked up, and he seems, and what I read about him in the Globe, he wants this industry to get off the ground, so that's what you want. You want someone who's going to get the industry off the ground.
I was so stoned I couldn't really see what he was saying. It seems like a nice guy. You'll get fine government work from a fine government official. That's what look, here's the deal. Here's the deal on pot. How much pot do teenagers in Massachusetts smoke right now? As much as they want. How much are they going to smoke 3 years from now? As much as they want. All the government's going to do is make a mess in between.
Well, except it may be safer and more...
How is it safe? They're fine.
Well, if it turns out that it's available like through a store, and what do you mean? If the public health facilities are involved...
Michael, enough about the children. You
know
what I mean?
Fine.
This is for the middle-aged mothers
for the middle-aged moms who are uncomfortable buying pot from the guy in the corner.
This is a place where it's good for government to regulate the safety of the product.
Have some fun
with some arugula and some sushi, and hey, you got some of that whammy-mammy for me?
Exactly, and all these edible things, the rookie cookies.
You heard about the edibles.
I'm here too.
I'm excited about it.
Okay, mainstream media. Right. Donald Trump criticizes it, Steve Bannon criticizes it, and you criticize it. Right. Explain to me why Donald Trump hates the fake news and the failing New York Times. First interview he does is for the failing New York Times after he's elected. Steve Bannon hates mainstream media, runs to the king of mainstream media, 60 Minutes. They want to be loved by these people, don't they? I'm serious.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the queen-size chip on Trump's shoulder is obvious, and Steve Bannon has been desperately being taken seriously, and the people who know him best don't take him particularly seriously. He's kind of been a smart operating opportunist all through his career. He's never really accomplished things. He glommed on other people who've accomplished things.
You know, let me play a little sound about what he said about the GOP establishment. This is Bannon on 60 Minutes, and get your reaction. Here he is.
The Republican establishment is trying to nullify the 2016 election. That's a brutal fact we have to face.
Who?
I think Mitch McConnell, and to a degree, Paul Ryan. They do not want Donald Trump's populist, economic, nationalist agenda to be implemented.
Says he loves Donald Trump, wants to help Donald Trump. How did that help Donald Trump? How does that help Donald Trump? For Trump to be trashing them and for Bannon to be trashing them?
I don't know how it helps, but he's right about the fact that the establishment does not want his populist agenda because they're not worried about helping middle-class people. I don't think they're worried about giving tax cuts to millionaires and billionaires and maybe corporations because to get the money back to the United States of America. But, you know, he's got much more of a populist instinct than certainly I think Mitch McConnell or Paul Ryan does.
But how does this help? I mean, I assume if he really still loves Donald Trump, even though he's canned by Donald Trump, that he helps solidify the 35% or whatever the base is. How does he, at Breitbart, help Donald Trump beyond that 1/3?
Okay, correcting you as I always have to do when we talk.
Yes.
There's nowhere close to 35% in the Breitbart world. That's
I'm talking about Trump's most loyal supporters.
But my point is that Bannon speaks for a subset of a subset of a subset, and so they're trying to fight. Notice that Bannon could have left and been the guy who's going to try to push Trump. And we're going to make Trump get back to the principles about the wall immigration, DACA, which Trump is going to totally betray them on, and he's not. Instead, he's
Bannon doesn't think he went far enough. By the way, Bannon thinks he just should have gotten rid of it with no 6-month wait.
And he said, this really ticked me off. He said the Catholic Church, they only want the money from the immigrants. What is he talking about? The whole Catholic Church has been an immigrant church from the beginning of the United States of America. I had to get that in because there's so much trashing of Catholicism.
The point is that Bannon isn't fighting Trump. Bannon is going to be Trump's wingman because there is one identity for Republican politics right now, and it's Trump. Trump is the center of the political world, and as long as he has 80% support from Republican voters, it's going to stay that way.
Okay, Bannon also said that he didn't think Hillary Clinton was very bright. I'm not stamping it. I'm just saying. Here is Hillary Clinton Sunday morning, CBS this morning, talking about sexism in the campaign from her book, What Happened. Here it is.
I started the campaign knowing that I would have to work extra hard to make women and men feel comfortable with the idea of a woman president. And a lot of the sexism and the misogyny was in service of these attitudes.
Now, I want to be careful here. Well, I was pleased to know, I've only read excerpts so far, it's coming out tomorrow, that she learned how to practice alternate nostril breathing. Now, that's what she said, to calm down after losing. Losing is horrible. Is this in any way helpful to the cause, for lack of a better expression?
No, it's not. I mean, was there a lot of sexism and misogyny against Hillary Clinton? Absolutely. But she was a bad candidate. Donald Trump was the only person that was disliked more than she was. I think it's kind of unfortunate that after running for president twice and losing twice, you cannot step off the stage.
30% approval. Lower than Donald Trump's.
Yes.
Okay, so she says, what happened? Can you answer that in one sentence? It took her hundreds of pages. Can you say it in one sentence?
The Trumpies say that Donald Trump was the only person who could have possibly beaten Hillary Clinton, and every once in a while I start to believe them. Then Hillary talks. And I realized pretty much everybody could have beaten Hillary Clinton.
No, but there's a better line.
Better line.
Trevor Noah's line during the campaign was that these are the two luckiest candidates in history. They're running against the only people they could ever possibly beat. So,
but I put her brain next to Steve Bannon's any day of the week.
Well, so would
There's no doubt.
I put them right next to each other. I think they're right at the same level.
She said in her thing, in her What Happened thing, in the interview, worst mistake in her campaign. Was it her worst mistake?
No. It was the disdain that she showed for the voters. I mean, the idea that she said in that interview again yesterday, I don't think that the deplorables comment was that big of a deal. I don't think it was of course she doesn't, because she does deplore those people. Look, she said to America, hey, half of you, I really don't like you. And they got the message.
What, you?
Hillary Clinton, and I'm going to annoy a lot of women when I say this, she rode on the coattails of a very talented politician, her husband. She's really smart, but she does not have any political skills. And I'm a woman. I see a lot of women that have political skills. She's not one of them.
You going to read the book?
No, I probably won't.
How about you?
I'm going to read the original unredacted What the Bleep Happened, which was a much better version.
By the way, if you're upset, it's Marjorie Egan at
That's
WGBH.
right. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
not
trying
me.
to
I didn't say it. I just said
I would never say that on my podcast ever. I would never.
I'm sure you never would.
See you tomorrow at 11 at the library. Michael Graham, pleasure, as always, in an odd sense. It really is. It's wonderful. Good to see you.